Hello and welcome to Law and Order SVU here on FANVERSATION. That's right, this is the Law and Order SVU recap discussion. One might say an after show. One might. I am Yael Tygiel. I'm joined as always by Taylor Gates. Hello, Taylor.
Hello.
Hi. This is SVU Season 22, Episode 2, Ballad. I'm killing it.
Ballad of Dwight and Irena.
I'm going to be honest. I knew that it was Ballad. I saw that it was Ballad. And for whatever reason, my mouth did not say it.
You said ballot. Like you're still thinking about the election, I guess.
I really am. It's on my mind. Before we jump into this episode, I'm going to provide a hotline for anyone who finds themselves in a situation where they might need assistance. Please feel free to reach out to RAINN. They're here to help you. Their number is 1-800-656-4673, 1-800-656-4673. If you're in a situation, if you've been assaulted, if you need help, please reach out. This show, SVU, tends to tackle darker subjects. And when that happens, we make light. And we consider this your content warning, just in case this might not be the show for you. I can feel myself getting ready to make light. So please prepare for this episode.
This was quite a doozy.
It was.
Yeah, but also it wasn't, because we've seen it before in an episode called Pop.
That's right. Welcome to the recap of Season 12, Episode 11, Pop.
Exactly. We just went a decade back, and that's where we are now.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they thought it's been 10 years and we won't remember.
But they don't know us, clearly.
Right. All right, let me tell you what happened in this episode. The quick cap, according to IMDb, Rollins and Tameen respond to a dangerous domestic violence call while Finn gives his deposition in the lawsuit against him. The least descriptive quick cap ever.
But it's not wrong. That is exactly what happened.
Yes. What did you think of this episode, other than the fact that, it's the story of Pop?
I thought it was fine. It was a good episode. I was entertained by it. I didn't feel like it was groundbreaking by any means. And I have a way that this could have been so much more interesting. And I'll tell you after we get done discussing, because it's going to blow your guys' mind. And I should be hired for the show, because I just had a theory that it was going to happen the whole time and it didn't. And I'm so disappointed.
Wait, you want to wait and tell us afterwards? You don't want to tell me now what it is that you think should have happened?
Okay, fine. I can tell you guys now. Okay, here's the thing. It should have been the daughter that did it. It should have been the daughter, because we planted the seed. We planted the seed early that they were worried there was sexual abuse on the daughter. I was like, okay, well, they planted that seed that's going to come back. She was in the bathroom with the boy. Either she was protecting her mom and her brother, or she did do it by accident. I don't know. It should have been the daughter. They weren't questioning her about anything except for what they ate for dinner. I just really think that would have twisted it. And so maybe the mom and the brother are trying to protect her. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. First of all, that would have been genius. They really did drop enough seeds.
It should have happened, because everything wove through. And I was like, oh my gosh, it would make so much sense. But it didn't happen. So
one of the first notes that I took was the story about the bacon, where he's like, you took the bacon, and the kid's like, I'm vegan.
Yeah.
And she clearly did it. The girl took the bacon.
That's what I'm saying.
Now when you say it, I'm like, oh shoot, that would have been so good.
It would have been so interesting. And if because it makes sense, because she's, she's the youngest one, she's the baby. Both of them would be trying to protect her, and she was trying to protect them in a way. It would have been so good.
Yeah, I'm actually, thank you for sharing your theory.
You're welcome.
All right, let's talk about the case. All right, so when we first get the call for the DV case, and Ben says it's to wait for backup, and Kat is feeling hold on. Daryl says, you mean the daughter with the dead eyes?
Daryl, you got me there. You got me there, dude.
Yeah.
It's one of those Born Psychopath. That was an episode where that kid was
That's the one
And
where
that's the one
Snowball died.
Snowball. Yeah, I love how that's like who cares what else happened? Like that's what in a bathtub, right?
Yep.
Oh, connects again. Ooh, interesting.
All right, so let's talk about the episode. So Kat's going, gets the call, is going to go, and Benson's like, get back up. And Kat feels, that she's being held on a short leash still. And I do like the fact that this episode twice brought up like previous episodes into the fact that no one brought up Pop is weird, but whatever.
Right. I'm like, at least you could have recognized it instead of trying to be all slick and sly, but it's fine.
Because they bring up Dodd's death. They bring up Pippa's husband. Like, they bring up these things that occurred, but not things that, like, cases that they did.
Are extremely relevant. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this episode was tackling how abuse has gotten worse through the pandemic, and we will talk more about that when we get to our rip from the headlines section. But I want to talk about the method of murder, because a hairdryer to the tub is so old school.
I loved it, kind of. I was like, ooh, that's interesting.
It reminds me of the classic movie, What Women Want, with Mel Gibson, where he electrocutes himself and then can hear women's voices.
Oh my gosh. They ripped from so many places for this. It's just a mashup. It's a collage.
The more I think about it, the more I'm trying to understand how this, like, I don't know that if I were a kid, I don't know that I would have put together, if I was going to kill somebody, that the hairdryer in the bathtub is the way to do it, except for like old movies. So maybe they were trying to gear us to thinking it was the mom because it was like such an old school method.
I feel like I knew that because we talked about like safety in school. Like I feel like I knew that young because it was like, oh, like when it's something's plugged in, like don't get it too close. I don't know. I feel like I knew that when I was little. But I understand what you're saying, how it could be like, yeah, the mom, like who else would have known to do that?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I thought like it seemed like a very old school.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, like at that point, just bring a toaster. Like really,
just throw a toaster in there. That was so much better. Why did we not do that?
Because also that could not be self-defense in any way.
They were just making toast in the bathroom. It's a small apartment, whatever.
I mean, they did ask the guy, is it possible that he was blow drying his own hair in the bathtub?
He was like, not likely.
We also, okay, so one of my notes, I even tweeted it, is that all of the men in her life are trash.
Just absolute garbage.
Okay, so we meet Will's biological father, who is a cop, who's like, yeah, he gets bullied by my ex's new boyfriend. You're a cop. Your child is being beaten by a stranger. What are you doing?
Yeah, but then, okay, then let me say another theory I had that never panned out. That the dad, the biological dad, when he was trying to say, oh, like I killed Dwight, like it was me, he was so aggressive with him. He was like pulling his arm, like screaming out, and I was like, maybe it's the dad that's abusing him too. But we never went back to that either. What was the meaning?
That everyone in her life is trash.
I guess, but like it didn't fit in with the murder case of it all and the abuse case of it all. It should have.
I mean, I think I assume it's to tie back to when she talks about her childhood, that she saw her mother being abused, and therefore she continues to, the cycle continues, and she goes after men who abuse her. The cop abused her. Dwight abused her. The lawyer, I gotta shout out. I have to shout this out. This, our lawyer Calabrese, this actor is a repeat offender ×5. I have all the episodes for you. He was in season 2, episode 6. He was in season 10, episode 4. He was in season 13, episode 14, which is where he played JT Austin's dad. He was in season 16, episode 7. And now
but it is good.
5.
That's wild. Because I was gonna say, I was even a little bit confused by that because, like, do lawyers ever act like that? Like, is that a thing? I was like, does she know this guy from like not being a lawyer?
I assumed that he was like a like related to Dwight or like was somehow, you know, I assumed he was like, there was a connection. I feel like we're missing a scene that explains how he and her, because it also, I don't want to make assumptions on this person's lifestyle, but I feel like there's a chance that he's like an ex.
That's what I'm thinking too, because I was just like so confused by that. I was like, did I miss a line where he's like a brother of someone or like an ex? Like, I just don't understand why he's like this.
Well, so there's a line where Benson says to him, do you always talk to women like that? And he says, excuse me, Captain. I could hear the air quotes on the word captain. I could
Captain. Yeah, that was a little bit bizarre to me, but okay, sure.
Like I said, every man in her life, trash,
except for Will.
Not a man, boy.
He's a boy. True, a male. I was thinking.
I also like when Sherry, Dwight's prego wife from West Virginia, shows up.
I love just like how much that didn't matter. Like, we could have done without her. It would have been probably pretty fine.
It changed nothing.
It changed. That's what I'm saying. I was like, oh, like what a twist. And then she was there for like 2 scenes. I guess we just like needed to reedify. What is the word? Reedify? Yeah, right? I don't know. We needed to solidify the fact that Dwight sucks, but like
reiterate.
We knew that. Reiterate. Wow, you guys, fun fact, I just put icy hot on my forehead because I had a headache. Maybe I should not do that anymore. Reiterate that he sucks, but we knew that. We didn't need more evidence. I had all the evidence I needed.
Yeah, I thought when she showed up, I was like, what a fun twist. Like he's married, she's pregnant. And then when Carice is talking to Irena and she's like, no, they broke up. No, they're not together. I was like, cool, this is gonna play into something. And then it didn't. And then at the end when she's really mad that
I loved it.
1 year, I was like, but she can sue. Like she could sue for money. And then I went, oh, I don't think there's money.
But that was that was in my favorite quotes because she acted her ass off. I dare, that's all. It had big, like, we just discussed Bully the other day. Ellen, like it had big, like Ellen energy to me. I liked it.
I love it. Yeah, I also have a quote. We'll get to the best lines in a bit, but I want to talk about Finn's storyline for a second. Unless there's anything else you want to say about Pop. I mean, Ballad of Dwight and Irena.
Sorry, Ballad of Dwight and Irena.
Oh, yeah. I want to say Carice finally gets a trial.
Yes, we did.
We've been waiting for that. And then Pippa, I really love that Pippa got brought back. And then Rollins reminding the audience who Pippa's husband is and that he went to prison for child porn.
Yeah.
I loved all of that. I just feel like Rollins, Pippa is not responsible for what that man did.
Like, girl, chill out. Like, Pippa's still cool. We're cool with Pippa.
I love Pippa.
I do too. She's great. Well, we get another mention of another character, but we'll talk about that when we talk about Finn.
Yes. All right. Let's talk about Finn's story. So he's being deposed. He's being sued. I have to call this out because it's been killing me since last season, since episode 2. So the characters from that storyline were Leon and Andre's the little boy. The woman, her name is Joelle in the show. They say Joelle. They call her Joelle. For whatever reason, she's credited as Simone, and it's killing me, and I don't understand.
That's just hilarious because I'm like, that is not even close. It's not even like a Jolene, Joelle. Like it's Simone.
It's killing me, and like every time I'm like, who is Simone? Okay. Anyway, so
maybe that'll come back into play. Maybe she's got
maybe
Evil Twin storyline. Let's go.
I'm into it. So there's a $2 million. She ends up winning a $2 million settlement. We also get mention of a new girlfriend, Phoebe.
That's what I was thinking. It's Phoebe Baker. Do you remember Phoebe?
Oh,
It's that
Phoebe Baker, played by Eva Mendes.
Not Eva Mendes. It's, hold on, I'll Google it for you.
It's not Eva Mendes.
It's not Eva Mendes.
Phoebe Baker, the cop from Vice.
She is, oh, come on.
Right? From the episode, Brothel.
She's from Jennifer Esposito. Jennifer Esposito. She works with the Vice
from
squad.
Brothel, right? Yeah.
I think
is
so.
That who?
Yeah, we loved her. We were like,
to?
make her. Yeah, I think so. It had to be. Like, bring her back, please.
If that's who they were referring to, I was like, who's Phoebe? What a subtle.
It had to be. Who else would they? Because they had some attention in that episode that we liked.
Right, and he tried to get back together with her. Oh my God. If that's who it is, amazing.
I promise it is, because like they're not just gonna throw the name Phoebe in there.
I love it. I'm so here for it.
I want her back. Like, I want to not just reference her, I want to see her again though. I loved her character. She was so fun.
I just want to, yes, my bad. My bad. I want it noted that I understand that I said Eva Mendes when it's Jennifer Esposito. My bad.
I mean, Eva Mendes should be on SVU though. Like, let's not get it twisted.
Yeah. My bad. All right. So the other thing I really want to talk about is at the end of just that last scene at the end of this episode, which honestly I would have liked more of that and less of Pop. Right. Finn talks about how he never trusted the cops when he was a kid, and that he grew up and he worked his way into SVU because there's no gray area when taking down pedophiles. And I really appreciated that, especially based off, building on what we saw last week and the first episode and really what's going on in the world. And then we have this great conversation with Kat and Rollins, and it reminded me of the article that I gave us the bullet points for last week, the interview with Warren Leight, where he talked about how Kat is a different generation. And so when they're talking about the protests, Rollins says, we were under attack and we were supposed to sit there and take it. And Kat says, no, we were supposed to de-escalate and not overreact. And genuinely, I wanted more of that discussion.
I'm hoping that they didn't like expand on it too much, because it's going to be a conversation that flows through not even just the rest of the season, the rest of the show. Because I mean, I think that once you do something like you did last week, and once the culture has shifted so much, like in the real world, I feel like there's not discussing that anymore. And I hope they don't try to sweep it on the rug, because I think it's a really important conversation to have and build upon, so it's not just like an episode of the week type thing, because I feel like that would be even more disrespectful than like not covering it all, if you know what I mean. So I'm hoping that they like keep weaving that through and having that conversation over a long period of time.
I agree with you. I think that it needs to continue. I think that it's so interesting because, when the show started 22 years ago, Benson was the young and progressive and with it detective, and then Rollins came in. She was the young and progressive and with it detective. Progressive for where she's from. And then Kat is there being like, hey, hello.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's exciting.
Here's a question. Is Kat a millennial or Gen Z?
Oh, I think that she's a millennial, because Gen Z, I'm not even a Gen Z. I'm 24. I'm on like the cusp of both. So she's a millennial, but she's like a young millennial. Because I'm what? She's like in her late 20s, early 30s?
I think she's supposed to be your age.
Okay. Well, then she's a young millennial then. But she's like, she's closer to Gen Z than anyone else by a lot.
Right.
Gen Z is like 1997-ish. Yeah. It's like the year. It depends on what source you look at, but yeah, I'm guessing she's a young millennial. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But
all right. Well, let's move along to our best lines. I'm so sorry. I don't have a banner for best lines. What are some of the best lines?
I mean, we've kind of touched on some of them, but I don't eat bacon. I'm a vegan. I just love because it was just like just in there. I loved Carisi saying, do we all think this was an accident?" And just people blank staring at him for about 5 entire seconds. And that was so funny. Everyone's just like, I love that. It's like not funny, but it's like,
Oh no, you broke up.
Be my wife. Was that a proposal? Was that a proposal? Oh, do you hear me now?
I hear you now. Was it the way you bust my balls? You might as well be my wife.
And then she goes, "Is that a proposal?" Like, oh God, that's the exciting proposal. Like, absolutely not.
I wrote that one too.
It was so like sad and gross, but I was like, oh man, like this. What a guy, what a dude that we're dealing with here. But yeah, those were the ones that I had.
I wrote that one, the busting my balls one, and then I also wrote down when Leanne says to Kat that God's not mad at her father, even though he was yelling. And I was like, I'm sorry, God gets mad for yelling? I'm going to hell for yelling? Because if that's the case, I'm fucked.
As someone who went to Catholic school and knows the story about when Jesus yelled in the temple and flipped the tables, can't be true. Doesn't check out.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Yelling's not a sin, you guys.
Good. Awesome. All right, let's talk a little bit about the headlines that this is ripped from, because this is ripped from a headline, not in the usual sense that it's not based on a specific story, but it is based on the increase in domestic violence during the pandemic. There is an article from the New England Journal of Medicine about a pandemic within a pandemic, the intimate partner violence during COVID-19, because it has surged as people are stuck at home. And I think that's something very important that people should be keeping an eye out and paying attention to, reaching out to people, checking in on them, because we're in such a scary time where you're at risk if you leave the house, and some people are at risk staying in the house.
I agree. I really like that they mentioned that. Obviously, it's horrible that it's happening, but I think it's an important thing to like bring awareness to. So I did like that they added a little bit of information on that in this episode.
I think it's really odd, though, to have that be like a sentence that is said while the child is at the school that should be closed. And
they ripped their mask off in the middle of the school, but it's fine.
And they ripped their mask off to talk. I'm just saying, I think
it's just so funny. There's no consistency.
It was a choice. It was a choice.
A choice.
Yes. I also have some show news for those who have not been paying attention. Wentworth Miller, who is a repeat offender on SVU, has been there in 2 episodes so far. He made a statement, I believe last week or the week before, about how he will not be returning to the show Prison Break, which was a show that he was on and then got rebooted and he came back. He will not be returning. He has decided that he's not going to play any more straight characters. And you may recall,
we love that for him.
Last season, season 21, episode 6, Murdered at a Bad Address, he showed up as a queer character, ADA Isaiah Holmes. He said this tweet, "I'm not going to play gay characters." And I said, bring him back. And then they did. So he will be returning this season.
Yes. I love how many just people they seem to be just bringing back. Like, I love it because it's all the characters that we liked and said, hey, bring them back.
Yeah, I'm really excited for him to come back. That said, I am requesting that when he returns, he and Carisi finally go out. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, are you going to bring up the other piece of news that I sent you on Twitter this week?
It has not been confirmed. Okay. It is a rumor. Would you like to bring it up?
Sure, because this complicates what you're saying about wanting them together, because someone saw a tweet or tweeted out this week that they saw our man Barba on set for SVU this week. So he might be making an appearance. It's not confirmed yet, like you said, so it's just a rumor, but there's some light evidence to confirm it. So
the way you say it is so subtle. The way that it happened is so funny.
It is.
This woman was complaining about SVU, I think, like blocking traffic or the sidewalk or something.
Well, it was because they were like, there was a lot of people and we're still in COVID. I think that was why. She was like, why is just fair, but
yes. So she was complaining, and she mentioned that she saw Mariska and Raul, and so everyone was like, "I'm sorry, you saw Raul?"
Yeah. What?
So spoiler.
But that would be. Give me my love triangle. Give me my Barisi plus Wentworth Miller love triangle.
Oh my God, I would be so down for that triangle. Also, Anna says it's pretty much confirmed.
That's fair. I'm so hot. Oh my gosh, because he had such an unfortunate last episode that we will not talk about because it makes Yael so mad. And me, but Yael gets really mad when we talk about how he left.
It's because it doesn't make any sense. All right, moving on.
Exactly.
Moving on. What do we do here? What is our thing? Weekly polls next.
We do indeed have weekly polls. So last week we asked you guys what your favorite season premiere episode has been lately, and disappointed but not surprised at the results. It's fine. We have coming in at last Guardians and Gladiators at 7%. That was last week. Yeah, not surprising. But then in third place, we have Locum, which is so upsetting to me because I love Locum so much.
Locum's a great episode, but it doesn't feel like a premiere. It's just a great episode.
I don't care. I just love the episode so much. Second place, we have one of your favorites, Yael, Lost Reputation. That's the one with Cragen and the hooker in the bed. And then, of course, number one, 50% of the vote, we have Surrender Benson. Fine, great. Knew you guys would vote it. I don't like it, but I'm in the minority and I'm well aware of that. Whatever. And so this week, we're asking you guys what your favorite episode with names in it is. So we have Amaro's 180, that's season 15, episode 11. Yael, tell us about that one.
Amaro's 180 is the episode where they're having a party at Benson's and he leaves and he helps an officer chase down an unarmed black man and shoots him because the rookie who was shooting, her bullet ricocheted and shot herself, and so she thought that the kid shot the girl, so he shot and paralyzed the boy.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, the actor who plays the boy is Aubrey Joseph from Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, interesting. What? Yeah, that's probably right. But that's a good episode. All these are actually pretty good. Then we have Holden's Manifesto, that's season 16, episode 4. That's a great one. That's the one where it's like the incel guy and Rollins like chases him on a rooftop, and it's like kind of based off of like YouTubers and stuff.
No. Holden's Manifesto is based off of you're mixing two. You're mixing the Gamergate one, which is on the rooftop and has YouTubers. Holden's Manifesto, she comes to the school and has the one-on-one in the classroom with him.
Oh, right. Oh, wait. But isn't one of the Paul brothers in it, or is he in the Gamergate one?
No, they're in the Gamergate one.
Oh, shoot. I must have mixed that up. But I do. Holden's Manifesto is great. Holden's
Manifesto is such a good one. It's based on the Isla Vista murders. And it's got the creepy guy, and he makes YouTube videos throughout the whole thing. And he goes, "Okay, in March here, blah 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 blah. These people."
It reminded me a little bit of like the Father Shadow episode too, which is one I love. Father Shadow, I think that's such a good one. We have Forgiving Rollins. That's season 16, episode 10. And that's a good one. We get some answers about what happened to Rollins on the job a long time ago, which this is not an option, but that question and storyline is introduced in Educated Guess with Natasha Lyonne, which is such a good episode. I love how I just get an excuse to talk about other episodes through these polls, but I love that episode too. So, and then of course we have this one, which we've been talking about for 30 minutes. So I'm hoping that you know the storyline of that. So go to vote on the poll. We'll tell you where to find that in just a little bit.
We will tell you where to find that in just a bit. We added a new segment to our show called "What Did We Learn?"
Shoot, I forgot to think about this.
Well, I have my answer. We learned that Taylor came up with a much better whodunit this week.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. I guess that I'm gonna say you're allowed to plagiarize yourself because they just ripped up. And I guess that the showrunner and the staff didn't write, but it's still the same show, so it's technically still ripping yourself off. So yeah, and also let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I learned.
I learned you can die. That actor has been in 5 episodes.
That's interesting. And the hair dryer in the bathtub, and I didn't learn that, but I was reminded that that's a thing. And now I'm scared to take a shower, but it's fine. I don't even own a hair dryer. I don't know why.
So you know what's funny is I am afraid to leave any of my hair product appliances, so like curling iron, straighteners, whatever, plugged in. And I also am afraid to get them near the sink.
Yeah, it's scary. Yeah. Are like modern hair dryers like built to kind of protect you against that a little bit more?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, someone make that because it's scary.
Amazing. This was a fun chat about this episode. I'm really bummed now that the little girl didn't do it.
That's what I'm saying. They planted all the seeds and they didn't do anything with it. Sorry.
Yeah. The fact that the little girl, it didn't turn out that like there's something, that she was abused in any way. It just seems odd that like she comes out of this kind of unscathed. Like,
yeah,
her mother and brother are on trial for murdering her father.
She had to eat
very normal.
She had to eat a vegan hamburger. Like, get over it. That's all. That's all that happened.
I eat vegan burgers all the time.
They're good. That's what I'm saying. She doesn't like them though. So that was her only that's what she suffered through. Which I'm glad, let's not get it twisted. We're glad that she didn't get hurt, but it would have been the more compelling storyline,
I mean, I don't know that we're saying we're glad that she's fine.
I'm saying, well, I don't know. This gets sketchy. This gets to sketchy territory.
Look, the other interesting thing that was missing from this episode, I would say, was Noah.
Also, I would say maybe if they had some more clowns, send in the clowns. Maybe I'd boost it a little higher, but we
Look at you I just want to talk about other episodes. You love Pop.
Maybe we get a pregnancy pact from Babes. Just kidding. I do like Pop. Pop is the first fun fact. Pop is the first episode I ever watched live, so it has a special place in my heart. But that's why this episode was especially just I watched this live 10 years ago.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. And I actually like the actress in Pop a lot. I don't know, she was fun to watch. I feel like everyone had a lot of attitude in Pop, which I appreciated. Everyone was very just very New Yorker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anna wants to go back to the Finn plot because someone showed up late to our show. But says Ron's comment about police was very Southern white lady, which is great because she's in character. I agree.
I am surprised that Rollins, because whenever there's a domestic abuse case, I think she's well, my mama, she always comes back and talks about it because she didn't mention it in this episode.
It's, you know what it is? It's because every time it's one, she goes back and forth. As we remember from part 33, one of the most polarizing episodes on the show is that sometimes when there's a DV case, Rollins is very much the woman is at fault because she wasn't strong enough. And sometimes she's I think reasonable person being she was abused.
Right. And so she didn't really put any of her emotion.
She didn't have any opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. She was just oh yeah, this happened. It did.
It's interesting because when she's talking to Benson about Finn's case, and And I think Benson says to her, like, this is very reasonable that Joelle/Simone would sue the police because she has been in this victim relationship for so long.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's very true. Almost. It was quite the episode. 1 year. That's all. I don't know with that.
I love it. All right. Before we wrap things up, I want to remind everybody that if you are in a situation and you need help, please reach out. We're going into the holiday season, so this is a time where people are even more at home. And if you need help, please reach out to RAINN. Their number again is 1-800-656-4673. 1-800-656-4673. Also, they have hope. It does spell hope. 4673 spells hope. But they do have an anonymous chat that you can do online if you can't make a phone call. Please, take care of yourselves. It's really important to us that you all stay safe and get help if you need it. Will we be doing an older episode next week? I forgot we were supposed to talk about this before.
Oh, yeah.
Being made right now. Yes?
Why not?
Sunday. Yeah. Thanksgiving weekend, even though there's no new holiday or no new episode, we'll be doing.
Is there like a Thanksgiving episode?
I'm sure I will find it.
Okay, cool. We'll try to do that. We'll try to be in theme.
All right. We will definitely be back then on Sunday and then the week after with a new episode. I know that it was revealed that Tamara Tooney, our Emmy medical examiner Warner, is in that episode 3.
I love her. I'm so happy.
I reached out and asked her if she wanted to come. I don't have a confirmation yet, but if you would like to tweet at her that she should be on Law and Order SVU, that's the name of this show, you can go ahead and do so.
Everyone just spam her with tweets.
Yeah, because that's how
but also for you, because you can get that interview from us.
Yeah, that's how we're doing things these days. But until next week, Taylor, where can everyone find you and the poll?
You guys can find me and the poll on Twitter at @alphaba_, and you can also find me on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_. I also host a podcast about Twilight called One in Forks. That's on Spotify, iTunes, Anchor, everywhere. It's a lot of fun. So if you like Twilight or like to make fun of Twilight, you would like that show. So come join us at One in Forks too.
You can find me everywhere at Yael Tygiel. This podcast is available every week live on FANVERSATION's YouTube channel. We are also available everywhere you listen to audio podcasts. That version does have a 45-second ad at the beginning. Listen to it. Enjoy the sound of my voice. But also, let me know. I know that someone said it's hard to find us on the podcast format. So let me know if you have trouble, and I will continue to adjust our SEO and things so that you can find us. Because we want to be found and we want to talk to everybody about SVU. You can also talk to me about any other episodes during the week on Twitter and Instagram at Yael Tygiel, YAELTYGIEL. Thanks, everybody.
You guys can only talk to me about episodes if it's about Sun and the Clown or Babes.
That sounds accurate.
Just kidding. Talk to me too.
Bye, everybody.